Anyway, uh, desperately trying to get this onto the fucking rocks track thing. I fucking goddamn it. So previously, things happened. People were talked to. Some people went to jail. Some people did not. Looking at you, Gregor.
No comment.
If only you said fucking no comment during the interview instead of just creatively lying your ass off.
That would have saved a lot.
I plead the fifth.
Jesus Christ.
So yes, previously, Gregor was picked up for malicious licking of a crime scene. Alexei has been spending some time both investigating the phenomena happening at the party and also being roped into investigating some strange phenomena happening at one of the residential blocks. While in parallel, Kramer was brought up to speed as to what Afanas wants him to get up to, specifically discrediting a noted Ukrainian artist. However, Alexei and Kramer's paths have begun to intertwine, if I recall correctly, with a session kind of ending with Alexei reaching out to Robert Kramer for help dealing with whatever's happening in Block 3.
Mm-hmm.
How is my aim? Have I missed anything specific?
That sounds familiar. I think that's right.
Yeah,
I think that's
that's
right. It would really help if I didn't keep missing sessions. I'm sorry, I was so catastrophically ill. You don't even know.
You're
No,
good.
it's
Don't worry
perfectly
about it.
understandable.
Oh god.
When I only run the entropy machine like once every 2 months. So
That's fair enough. So, I know we ended with Alexei and Robert on the phone to each other. Did Alexei ask for Robert to come straight over, or was this more of a...
Think
we said we were going to meet at a later point. I want to say I think we said around like 9 or 8 or something like that.
I think
there was a vague time limit in place.
Yeah.
Yes, that something that happens in the block at about 20 to 10.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think I said something about taking care of, or at least looking into the job for Afanas.
Yes, you were tasked with finding some information that would discredit this artist, and you were sent in the direction of the library, where some information should be there, but it's probably been heavily butchered by the censor's pen.
I see. Well, fuck. Might as well go anyway. See what I can get.
That's fair enough. So I'm assuming Kramer is probably heading off towards the library. Alexei is... What are you up to in this interim period?
While we're waiting to meet up.
Yeah, you've kind of been invited over. I've forgotten the name of the character. Brain is not braining. Elga.
Elga. That was
Yeah.
Started with an E.
You were
That's all I remember.
last time we were with Alexei. You were chatting with Elga.
Yes.
And she had mentioned Anna Petrovic as another member of the as a resident of the block who met other people from Site B.
There you go. I don't think I have any notes, but I should start taking them.
I feel that.
These notes. Oh, yes. Okay. Those were notes from Isaac's game. Okay. I thought I had a notebook for this, but I guess not. Anna Petrov. Where's my pen? There you are. So we have Anna Petrov and Elga.
Elga, yes.
Give me a refresher on Petrov.
Anna Petrovic, she was an electrical engineer. She was known to various people around Block 3. She knew Elga and helped repair a couple of her small pieces of electrical equipment. was often known for having other members of personnel from Site B come over to her place. They'd listen to music, play cards, drink. As far as Block 3 goes, it's mostly families and kind of older people, so she was probably one of the younger, more socially active people in the block itself.
Gotcha. I'm still with Elga in her apartment, right?
Yeah, I mean, Elga let you use her phone, so she's just sitting there sipping sweet tea.
Perfect. Anna was important because she had been seeing people from a different site, right?
Yes, basically, the people who work in Site B and the people who work in Site A tend to be fairly reclusive and stick within their own communities, mostly because that's a security thing. But Anna was considered to be a fairly minor electrical engineer, so she was allowed to kind of intermingle in general pop, yet people from Site B still came over and saw her.
Okay. Is Site B just another housing district, or is that like another possible city?
So Site A and Site B are two secret manufacturing locations within Yugoslavok. They are publicly known to be places you don't go unless you have official business to be there.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah,
and
specifically, like, as an Appalachic, you are familiar with that anything marked for Site A or Site B gets sent to an entirely different office, specifically handling that paperwork.
Gotcha. And the problems that have been... I mean, I know there was spooky spiritual stuff happening, but the actual... what do you call it? The actual manifestations of this is like power going out and strange noises from the basement, right?
Yeah, strange noises, power surges, water backing up, air conditioners starting to fail. Like, it seems to affect the full infrastructure of the building itself.
Yeah. Well, that's a good excuse to go talk to her. Why did all Elga mentioned her? Why? Just because she's the building supervisor and engineer or something like that?
I think you are specific because you were asking if government people have been around recently.
Oh yes.
As this has only happened within the last couple of days, and Elga was pretty much the only anything close to government who lives in Block 3. As I said, it's mostly like old people, families, menial labourers. Like no one with clearance really lives in Block 3.
Okay. On the one hand, I can go to. That's probably.
If you want to mull, we can move over to another character while you.
Move over to another character. I'm gonna mull over what I'm gonna do.
Cool. Gregor.
Hello.
It's he. So you've been sent back to your cell by a rather unimpressed. Fucking hell, my brain cannot find character names, even though I put the character names in bold and then I keep fucking losing them. Ancient Torrent, there we go. So yeah, you had previously been interrogated by Torrin. This interrogation had been pretty fruitless, and you had pissed Torrin off to the point where he had just put you back in lockup. You decided not to make too much of a fuss, and the guard who takes you over to your cell, rather just frustrated that he has to keep putting up with you, opens the cell door, motions for you to step inside, and taps you lightly on the back with his baton. Go on, in you go. I'm gonna have to process you now because we're gonna have to holding you more than 24 hours. You do. I'll be back with some ink and some paper. Just wait here. He steps off away from the cells for a moment, calling out to someone who you can't see. It's like, Vitaly, where's the printing kit? No, I know we haven't been using the printing kit for weeks. I have to take someone's fingerprints. Ay. You just hear crashing as someone is going through a much maligned office supply cabinet trying to find the things he needs.
I like the idea that it hasn't been used in so long that they don't know where it is.
People normally don't stay here long enough to have to be processed.
Yeah.
I am going to immediately turn into just a bunch of tentacles. And just look for any small crack, just any way I can make my way out of that cell. I'm probably for the bars, but I'm just gonna make my way out.
Okay, I'll give you a quick visual recce. As you spent overnight here, you're pretty familiar with the layout of this cell and this general location. You could slip through the bars. It's a pretty big open-faced cell. However, going out that way would immediately put you in line of sight of the desk. As you'd imagine, cells probably would have to feed directly by the place you've got to go by to go into to exit. But above you, there is actually a pretty narrow air vent. We're talking, I mean, diameter maybe no more than 3/4 of a foot across.
But yes,
With kind
immediately going in there.
With kind of a vertical slit grate coming through it. You can kind of feel there's something lightly pushing air, so there's probably some kind of fan in there. But I mean, if you're not bound by the constraints of the human form, yeah, you could probably squidge into that.
Fuck yes. That's where I'm going.
So you're sliming it up. Okay, do we want speed or do we want finesse?
Finesse.
Finesse, cool. I'm gonna say give me real then. Throw in tentacles, as you are using your tentacles to achieve this. So roll with a +2.
Hey.
Okay, so we're going for discreet. We're going for careful. Alright then, I'll give you another choice.
Yeah.
Do you want to do yourself harm to get away perfectly?
Ooh.
Or do you want to get away leaving a little bit of a trail?
Maybe for potential narrative purposes, I should leave a bit of a trail.
Alright, you're happy to leave a bit of a trail?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, you so you come up to the grate, and it's kind of a push. Like, even when you're in your slimy tentacle kind of mass, it's still a very narrow grate, and you can't just naturally slide between the slats, and eventually you just have to kind of give it the gusto and push, and the metal buckles, not loudly, but just enough to let you through. You lubricating your passage as you slide through, and as you descend into the ventilation systems away from the cell, there is just this thick, viscous mucus dripping from the now partially bent air vent.
That's my gunk hole.
Oh god. And yeah, you're well on your way to the exterior of the building by the time you hear a very distant, okay, now, what the fuck? Shit! And then just kind of alarm starts going off inside the police station. By which point you're kind of you have found like an exterior air vent, and are you going for like street level or rooftop?
Those are two. Rooftop?
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, like, rooftop will give you more cover. No one's going to be on the roof yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just kind of extrude your mass. God, this is so bad. You extrude yourself like cheap sausage meat from an exterior air vent out onto the rooftop. Do you reconstitute, or are you staying goo mode for the moment?
I'll go back to human mode.
Alright, so there's a naked, gooey old man on a rooftop.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of late, like mid to late afternoon. It's a very bracing, chilly, early summer's day. You can hear the alarm kind of blaring off from inside. There's footsteps, and From up here, there is a like fire escape ladder, like allowing access back down from the outside of the building. There's a door leading down from the rooftop back into the building. The buildings either side of you are a little bit taller, with windows kind of facing out onto the rooftop themselves. There are drain pipes. It theoretically would be possible for you to go even higher, like up the side of a building to another rooftop, or equally possible to just drop down to like one of the alleyways surrounding the building itself.
And I like use a tentacle arm to attach it to one of the higher buildings and just sort of climb up using it.
100%, that is entirely doable. Give me strange throw-in tentacles.
How much more is tentacles?
So roll with +3. Phew, yeah, no, perfect. Yeah, you just lash out at I mean, describe to me how this looks. Do you literally just like tentacle your arm and lash out to a building?
Yeah. Just like just my arm has become the tentacle, and I'm just grabbing onto it and just pulling.
Fair enough. Yeah, you launch yourself like 2 stories up to the next building across from you, land on the rooftop. Around you, you can just kind of hear now doors are opening out of the police station. There's distant shouting. I'll give you a broader question now. What are you going to do now?
I guess I'm just going to try and put as much distance between myself and the police station as I can. I guess I'm just going to start running across the rooftops.
That's fair enough. Are we talking just like running within the limits of the city, or do you have a destination in mind?
Probably Artemis' house.
Okay, so you are heading like out beyond the outskirts of the city then.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's his farmhouse, so that's fair enough. Yeah, cool. You haven't been detected, so this isn't going to be a contested like combative role. So I'll give you the question again. Do you want speed or do you want finesse?
So with finesse, I'm gonna probably be rolling with strange, right?
Finesse, you'll be rolling with real. Speed, you'll be rolling with strange.
Oh, speed then.
Because speed is unfettered, just using your power.
Can speed be Naruto running?
You meme-loving fuck. I don't know what I want to do. Kiss you or stab you?
Aerodynamic.
Well, roll +3 then, you fucking tentacle weeb. This naked, slimy... Fuck!
Yeah.
This slimy, naked
Fucking
old
hell.
man just Naruto running across the rooftops.
I picture like his you know how they have the arms back? I picture those are tentacles and they're just like billowing in the wind as he runs.
Man, Prototype 3 went in some weird directions. Fucking hell. No, yeah, you fucking blast it. Like, without having to fall to the constraints of a timid mortal form, you are able to just launch yourself. Just off one rooftop, running across the kind of gravel roof, launching yourself to another rooftop. Not really caring too much about if you're seen or if you're leaving a trail at this point, just going for sheer efficiency and speed. You don't hear like gunfire, but you distinctly hear like cars screeching, like someone shouting from an opposite building, like screaming. You are being seen, but you are moving too fast for people to really make a particularly good impression of what they're seeing. There's just kind of a pink streak dashing across the rooftops.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not long before you are just kind of clearing the last couple of rooftops, kind of dodging from residential blocks to manufacturing blocks until you are taking with one massive final leap over the exterior perimeter of Yugoslavok's city wall and landing heavily. I mean, are we talking like... Since we're going maximum speed, are we talking like hit the ground rolling and then just keep running? Or are we kind making a show of the landing?
I'm I'm gonna attempt to do like in Mirror's Edge, they do a gamble at the bottom of their jump.
Parkour.
That's me.
What's Russian for parkour? Probably parkour.
You're probably right. Das Parkour.
That's fucking German.
Oh, that would be true. Yes, you're right. My bad.
Oh god. Yeah, and you just hit the ground, roll into it, come back onto your feet, and start sprinting off across the tundra. There's just like one poor perimeter guard who got a real fucking eyeful as you just sailed past him, who in the 5 minutes past when you've left is still just standing dead ahead, gripping his rifle with a rather stunned expression on his face. And
I guess it's looking at a different kind of tentacle.
You know when you blink and you just capture the wrong image in your mind's eye, and you can't quite get rid of it? Yeah, he got that. Just like, no, I need all the vodka. And you take off into the kind of the rough tundra, obscured by the brush and the tall grass and the intermittent trees, heading towards your big open air quote friend's house. Meanwhile, Kramer.
Yes.
You're heading over to the library.
Yes, sir.
That's fair enough. The library itself is a public location. It's not exactly anywhere you need a huge amount of clearance to get into. If you want like specific clearance to see certain things, that's negotiated on more of a person-to-person, case-by-case kind of basis. So it's not necessarily out of the question for you to just head over there and get things taken care of.
Yeah. If I'm probably gonna ask for like special clearance to get an unfiltered, unblackened out info on the guy who I'm supposed to be framing. That would probably help.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. You head over, and the library is your standard Soviet design, just flat, brutalist architecture, grey concrete, and somewhat limited electrical lighting. Rows upon rows of dusty books that probably haven't been touched since they were put there. And behind the desk is a rather austere-looking older woman, grey hair up in a steel bun, thick glasses. She is making notes in a ledger, kind of crossing things off and dropping books one by one into a basket. She looks up at you and kind of, not looking over her glasses, but giving the distinct impression she would if she'd be able to see over them. Kind of takes you in, top to bottom. Do you tend to, as a character, utilise the library a lot with your studies, or do you tend to just get your books kind of brought in?
If I were... You see, that would depend on which area would get me less Soviet presence. Like, would I have people following me around all the time, trying to keep an eye on me at the library?
I'll say this much: the library would have its own dedicated NKVD detachment.
So either way, I'm gonna be screwed. Then in that case, usually I bring in the books, but I suppose since I'm waiting for Torin to show up, I might as well go there and get some quote peace and quiet.
That's fair enough. And you'd send Svetlana off to find Torin, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Cool. So she's not there with you. The librarian just kind of looks at you over her glasses. Comrade Kramer. It is good to see you, I suppose. How can I help you today?
I'm looking for some information on a specific Ukrainian artist. What was his name?
You call the Mykola Leontoyevich.
Mykola Tiantoyevich? That guy.
Mykola Leontoyevich, the a cappella artist. Yes, but I believe he will be under... she starts flicking through a card catalogue, kind of looking over different things.
I need unfiltered access, though, not blanked out.
Unfiltered? I can submit a request. I will need to check to see precisely what we have in. She kind of just spends some time flicking her fingers over the card index until she pulls a couple. Well, we have the publicly available biography. She just tosses that card on the desk. You probably don't want that. We have some lithographs of what look like original notations and some compositions. I will have to make a submission for that. She kind of puts that on the desk in front of you. And apparently there is something I can make a specific request for. I am not allowed to specifically tell you what it is, but it is something we apparently do actually have in the archive.
Well, then I would like to request it. It's not for me personally. It's for a job for one of my superiors.
She just puts her hand up and goes, if I make this request, it does not leave the viewing room. Is that to be understood? No copies, no transcriptions. You view it and you leave it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I will make the request. Now, please, have a seat. I believe there is coffee. I will ideally have this back to you in 2.5 hours.
Alright, that sounds good.
And yeah, she gathers up the cards, pulls out some paperwork and kind of moves it over towards you and goes, okay, please sign here, and here, and here, triplicate here. And I would just like you to just give me a roll with real.
Alright.
As you are facing your greatest enemy. Academic paperwork.
Plus 0. Let me go through here.
So roll +1 because you are using professional academic.
Alright, +1. Okay.
That's fair enough. Yeah, you fill out the paperwork. It's all fine. You put down your reasons. Are you very forthcoming with the reasons as to why you need to look at this work, or are you just putting a very broad, like see like party official Afanas for further information, kind of kicking it up the chain?
Yeah, I'd probably just kick up to him in case, you know. I don't want anyone else locked in a gulag in case, you know, something slips out.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. Anyway, you fill that out. She just stacks the paperwork up, walks over to a rear door, knocks on it a couple of times, and after a couple of seconds, a guy in a very kind of flat, plain-looking suit and slick down hair just kind of peeks around the corner, cigarette still clutched between his lips, looks at her, squints over at you, then just plucks the paperwork out of her hand and kind of steps into the back again. And yeah, she just walks away from the door, sits back down, and goes, "Yes, so I can notify your office if you have other things to do, or you are more than welcome to wait."
For now, I'll wait, but if I have to go back to the office, I'll let you know.
Oh, very well. And yeah, that's all she's really got for you at the moment. Alexi.
Yes.
Have we come to a
I know what
decision?
I'm going to do.
Good.
I have, yes. So, Alexi's going to turn to Elga, and he says, I'm going to have a talk with Comrade Petrovic, but we're going to, we're going to make sure we have our story straight. I'm going to say that you sent me because you were concerned and were wondering if I could speed up some kind of major maintenance or something like that. You asked me to have a look in an official capacity, or in an informal capacity, but to see if I could help in my position as an apparatchik. Is that all right, Elga?
Elga just kind of gives you a wry smile, kind of sips her tea.
Mm-hmm.
It is not my first time lying to the local government. I will be fine. Don't worry yourself, Alexi.
Good. I just want to have our story straight.
Alexi, you are thin. When was the last time you ate something decent?
Alexi thinks for a moment. I want to say I ate at the party last night, but I don't remember. Perhaps I didn't finish.
Well, look. She just kind of puts both hands up a second. I'm going to make you a sandwich. Just wait. And
all right.
She
Alexi
makes
sits
you
patiently, yeah.
makes you a smoked mackerel and sliced cheese
Ooh.
sandwich.
Hey, that sounds nice.
Yeah, it's kind of that thick, mealy, dark bread. A reasonable amount of butter on it as well. And yeah, she just wraps it up in some greaseproof paper. It's like,
Thank you, Elga.
everyone around here, no one eats enough fish.
We're a bit far from the sea, I think. Oh no, is there like a lake or a local area where fish come from?
There is a lake. It is stocked with fish, but the stocks are not really enough to support the city. So generally speaking, you're not allowed to fish there.
Okay, good to know.
This probably could have supported like a small village, but not a small city.
Okay, gotcha. Olga, one last question.
Yes? Yes, dear?
Do you have a cigarette?
You ask me if I have a cigarette. Would you like hand rolled or from the carton?
Whichever you think is better.
Well then. And she just kind of reaches underneath her headscarf and pulls out a slightly yellow tinted rolly. You can kind of smell from here. It's a mixture of tobacco and some other herbs and spice and cloves. It probably smells like if you lit it, it would probably make your eyes water just from the contact vapor. But
jeez,
you recall that Elga used to, back when she was on deployment as a marksman, she would smoke basically anything she could get her hands on because tobacco was so hard to find on the front.
Hell yeah, Elga's cool.
This is the thing, Elga has very strong Soviet MILF energy.
Yes. Soviet MILF energy? Alright. Okay. Spasibo, he says. And he lights the cigarette and begins smoking it as he leaves. Oh, where is Comrade Petrovic's apartment?
Oh, she's apartment 312. Head up the stairs, go to the right, follow it down to the end. It will be the second before the end on your left.
Da. Spasibo.
Yeah,
yeah. He heads out and he makes his way up the steps. Walks up to Petrovic's apartment and gives it a firm knock.
Yeah, you rap your knuckles on the door. You can hear nothing coming from inside. The apartment is pretty much the same as everything else. The door is relatively it's in good it's not varnished wood, but kind of painted wood, which has not yet begun to peel, so it's all in fairly good condition, even though it's an exterior facing door. There's a kind of small pane of frosted glass and a peephole set into the door itself, and then there's a reasonably sizable window which would look into the main living room just to the right of it. But yeah, you knock, you wait. There is no response.
I'm gonna try the door, see if it's unlocked.
You reach to the handle. You try to give it a turn. It holds fast.
Alexi's going to. Oh, actually, let's see if I have any relevant skills that might be helpful. Where'd my character sheet go? There you are. I do not. Okay. He's gonna head back down to.
Well, okay. I will say one thing. If you're a little bit lost for roll plus real, actually no, roll plus fake, because this is duplicitous trickery and things like that. So roll plus 1.
Oh.
Well, mark experience.
Where are you, experience? There you are.
You stand there. You try the door, and then you jump across the kind of courtyard. You kind of hear someone shout, "Hey! Hey!
Oh!
Hey, he's trying to break into Anna's apartment."
It's.
Don't think I can't see you with the black eye. You stay right there.
Alexei is too frightened to do anything. He's like a deer in the headlights. He's like, and he's just gonna wait for the guy to catch up to him.
It's not a guy. It's a kind of a woman in maybe her kind of early 30s, kind of holding a baby in a sling around her kind of one side. As she's kind of, as you see, as she gets closer, she's holding a small snow shovel in her other hand. She's just kind of marching up to you. Right, you stay right there, and
It's
Alexei.
oh, yes. How do you know my name?
I play I play cards with Elga like 3 times a week.
Oh, I see.
What on earth are you doing trying to break into people's houses?
I wasn't trying to break in. I was looking for Miss Petrovic. Elga asked me to look into it. You know, all the problems with the building. She was hoping that maybe if I look into it, we can get some papers moving faster or something like that. Perhaps notify the larger power grid officials. If that is indeed the problem. But Petrovic is the engineer for this building, so she would know better if anything is wrong here.
Well, you're out of luck. No one has been able to get through to her in fucking 3 days, maybe? 4? I can't remember. The baby stirs and she kind of shoos it, kind of coos it down a little. He's shush. Look, if you're looking for her, I mean, she might have... they barrack people sometimes at the sites. I know that half the women here, their men go away for weeks at a time without saying why. If you need to get into her apartment so badly, you just ask the supervisor. He has spare keys for the entire building.
Well, thank you. I was hoping to talk to Miss Petrovic herself.
Steps kind of around you, kind of looking at the door, looking at the apartment window.
Yeah.
It's unlike her. She's always been such a good lady. She's very polite, always very kind, helping people out, and she's kind of starts peeking at the net curtains.
When was the last time anyone saw her?
Well, like I said, like 3 days ago, maybe a little longer than that. It's always been... she kept odd hours, but she was often very public when she had company over. There would be gentlemen callers. Maybe
that is her. I was just gonna say that is her decision as a grown woman.
You hear the sound of judgment in her voice, but it's not so necessarily just it's the sound of judgment, but also mild jealousy.
Gotcha.
And so yeah, the way in which she's kind of nosing around the door, nosing around the window, looks like she's just trying to angle and see if she can see anything interesting inside the apartment itself. You know,
is she usually? Is her routine usually punctual, unchanging?
Well, I mean, she kept all hours. She would be clocking in and clocking out whenever she got a call. Sometimes she stayed out. She came home drunk. If I try not to take a notice, you know.
Indeed.
You don't even have to roll to catch that's a barefaced fucking lie.
Yeah.
Now look, can I trust you not to throw a brick through her window?
I had no intention of throwing anything through her window.
I have a little babushka to feed, and a flat to clean, and a dog to clean up after, and everything else.
I think I will speak to the supervisor. Where does he stay? Does he have an office at the ground floor, or does he stay in one of the apartments?
Kind of points. He goes, top floor, penthouse.
Alexei groans at the thought of climbing more stairs all the way to the top floor. But thank you very much, madam. До свидания.
Yes. Tell Elga, next time I come over, I expect her to give me more than fish sandwiches, okay?
I will let her know that.
I will bake a fucking cake if I have to.
All right. As Alexei makes his way to the supervisor's office, he's going to eat the sandwich. Her talking about it made him think about it, so he's like, "Yeah, I'll just eat this now. I'm kind of hungry, I guess."
That's fair. That's fair. It is a decent sandwich. The bread is a little dry, but everything else is pretty tasty. It's a very salty, savoury sandwich.
Ah, perfect.
Carbs and fat. Beautiful.
Carbs, fat, and salt. The 3 food groups.
This is what this country runs on, God damn it. And yeah, you just plod your way up another 7 flights of stairs. Each flight taking slightly more and more of a toll. But you pace yourself, you take your time, and before long you come to the top floor. When you get to the top floor, it becomes apparent that on other blocks, this was probably a bit more of like well, not opulent, but just a fairly larger area. But here it does seem like just the absolute basic utility area has been put out here and not a lot else.
Oh.
Like just one standalone apartment, like a little concrete pimple on the top of the building.
Oh. Very weird.
Yeah, it's... but you see that the rest of the space has been very well used. There's a lot of planters and various other things up at the top here. Mm-hmm. A small perimeter fence going around the exterior perimeter of the building. And yeah, in fact, sitting out on a slightly battered-looking sun lounger, one of the collapsible ones, is a pretty heavy-set-looking guy, probably running into his late 50s, balding, kind of a thick chin with covered in stubble, wearing a string vest and some slightly greasy looking trousers, listening to a vinyl turntable, kind of old gramophone, while drinking a bottle of beer. It doesn't really seem to pay you too much mind.
Alexei approaches him and hello, sir. Are you the supervisor for this building, or the superintendent for this building?
There's a moment, a pause. The man takes a pull of his beer, smacks his lips, slowly puts it down, reaches over, takes the record off the needle off the record even, and eventually finally sits up and raises his sunglasses and looks at you. Yes.
Good. My name is Volkov. I am here on behalf of one of your tenants, Olga. She asked me to look into the, shall we say, electrical problems your building has been having.
Electrics are shit.
Indeed. But
plumbing is shit, air is shit, electric is shit. I do what I can to fix. What do you want?
I have good news for you, sir. If it is lower than a certain standard of living conditions, the state may be able to come in and replace certain things with no charge to you and your tenants.
I make a request. Nothing gets sent. They say wait for analysis. I say when does analysis happen? They say analysis come when inspection is validated. I ask when is inspection validated? They say we'll get back to you.
That's why Olga came to me. I work in I don't know what my official building is called. I'll just say the bureau. I work at the bureau. She has asked me to come as a personal favor, see if I can get things moving a bit.
Give me a roll with fake.
All right.
Add in your fluent in legal speak. So get
Perfect.
roll with a +2.
All right. Oh, no, you have to type the whole roll.
Yeah.
Hey,
There we go. That's spicy. Yeah, you lay everything out, and this guy just
buys it.
Just with a weary look on his face, rolls off the lounger, walks off towards his apartment, and then you can kind of see that's just been hanging up on an exterior hook next to the door is a big roll of keys.
Oh.
He just kind of unhooks it and starts thumbing through them. You say Elga apartment?
Yes, Elga asked me to come here, but I'm actually looking for Miss Anna Petrovic. I understand she's the
Petrovic.
electrical engineer for the building.
313? 313th. Yes, he starts kind of thumbing through the keys until he comes up with one. Okay, he just unsnaps it from the ring. You bring this back when you're done, yes?
Of course. May I ask you a few questions, sir? I will keep
He
it
just
short.
slaps
I
the
promise.
key into your palm. Say what you want.
So tell me, have you also noticed? No, he wouldn't need to ask that. Do you know anything about the strange problems the building has had? Other than obviously, I'm sure the tenants come to complain to you a lot, but do you know anything? Anything that they don't? Has perhaps Miss Petrovic come to you with any information?
You know this block? Block is full of old women and babies and old men and people who don't make a fuss. Yes? They are people who do not give me trouble. Now I get
Okay.
electrical problems. Now and again. Sometimes pipes freeze, water backs up, I go and fix. Sometimes electricals wear out, I go and replace. That is normally not problem. All of a sudden, entire fucking building goes crazy, and I'm expected to fix. How? How am I supposed to strip out every wire, strip out every pipe and fix? It makes no sense. These fucking people from that fucking Site B, they come in, they make a mess, and then all of a sudden I am expected to clean it up. This fucking
Wait.
Petrovic, this fucking girl, she fuck around with my phone system, she fuck around with my electrical cabling, I had to have the whole fucking antenna removed.
Forgive me, sir. Petrovic was making modifications to the building.
I thought you said you were
Beyond-
sent here. Yes, she fucked around. She was going over, she was helping people with their radios. Oh yes, she was helping people with their fucking radios. She was stealing things.
Stealing things. Is it mechanical components?
Look, all I know is a few people came around and all of a sudden Petrovic isn't here anymore. And I don't want to get into any more about it, okay? You use that key, you do whatever the fuck it is you want to do, and you'll leave me out of it, okay? When you're done,
Okay.
you'll leave it here.
Okay, I understand, sir. Thank you for your time.
He just scowls, spits, sits down heavily on the folding chair.
Interesting. Well, Alexei is just going to make his way back to Petrovic's apartment.
Why are you two flirting in the fucking chat, you weirdos?
That's some pretty gay shit there.
I approve.
What is it? I don't know.
I don't know, it sounds pretty gay. I'm in. Cool. Yeah, you head back down to the third floor, head over to Anna Petrovic's apartment, and yeah, the key turns in the lock, the door opens.
All right.
The apartment inside is your fairly standard layout. All these apartment blocks pretty much share the same design. They just mirror the apartment left to right as it goes around the building. A small hallway turning right into a large living room with a kitchenette attached to it. Then further on back towards the rear of the apartment, a bathroom and then a bedroom. The place is pretty clean. There's a stack of shoes, mixture of work boots and more casual shoes stacked up by the door. Some coats hanging there. And everywhere else seems fairly clean, if somewhat devoid of kind of personality. The living room has just got like a sofa, a small armchair. There's a rather nice looking television, the kind you would probably get through a particular requisition, as well as some other kind of small electronic knickknacks which are kind of splayed out across the living room table. It looks like this has been turned into kind of a small but fairly intricate workshop where someone has been pulling apart electrical components and doing something to them at the very least.
Oh.
The kitchenette is pretty much the same. There's a distant tang of soured milk coming from the fridge.
See, now that's a Alexi's gonna make his way over and open the fridge, just to give a general assessment of the sort of state of things. See how long it's been since things have been touched. Since obviously the milk has gone bad. There may be other things.
Yeah, there's a glass open bottle. It's begun to separate, and you can kind of smell the bad milk from here. There's a couple of eggs laying loose, some butter, a piece of pork seems to have taken on that slight glistening sheen when pork starts to spoil. None of it is like well into rot, but is definitely on the turn.
Yeah.
There's some vegetables there that do look like they're on the first blushes of wilting, but haven't fallen to rot.
Alexi's gonna snoop around for documents.
That's fair enough. So you're just gonna poke around the general area.
Yeah. If there appears to be a desk kind of area, he's gonna kind of rummage through that. Anything he recognizes as important documents.
So one thing I'm gonna say is, you do have the skill Big Ass Resume.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to swap out one of your skills for a skill relevant for this situation, you are able to do so.
Let's see, what skills do I have?
So at the moment, you've got bureaucracy, and you've got legal
Fluent
speak.
in legal speak.
If you wanted to turn one of those skills into, say, amateur investigator,
I guess I could, yeah.
or conspiratorial.
Maybe paranoid. I don't know if that's a skill, but like
one of my skills is paranoia. I mean, 100% you could definitely just turn one of those into paranoia.
yeah, I see it more as like because he's paranoid, he's thorough about everything. I guess if that makes
fair
sense.
enough. So you could swap out bureaucracy for paranoia if you wanted to. I leave it to you. Basically, you can roll with a -1, or if you switch the skill over, you could roll with a 0.
I'm gonna stick with what I got for now, and I'm just gonna roll. I'm gonna take the -1.
Okay. 2d6 minus 1.
Oh.
Okay. That's fair enough. So you poke around the place. It's clear that Anna has not really been like squirreling stuff away. She's just turned most surfaces into some kind of workstation. Poking around, you can see that in the living room she's been like disassembling what looks like a transistor radio, playing around with the internal components. There's a couple of duplicates there's a couple of similar components that they've come from other devices and seem to have been like wired in and then kind of soldered back out. Other ones have been soldered in. There's a lot of kind of slightly patchy looking solder around the radio itself.
Mm-hmm.
But as you walk around the rest of the apartment trying to get your bearings, you head over into the bedroom. And that's where you see the hole in the wall.
Oh.
It's a very neat hole. Looks like it's been cut with some kind of fine-tooth saw. And the actual piece of wall that was cut out has been neatly put to one side. The hole itself opens out onto a series of conduits inside the wall itself. You're no expert, but there seems to be a fairly large copper water main. There seems to be some kind of thick kind of cluster of cables. This all looks like it's got something to do with the utilities inside the building.
Interesting.
It looks like something was set up here. There's a small folding table next to the hole, but there's nothing on the table, and there doesn't seem to be anything. I mean, you could look closer at the contents of this hole to get a better idea. It's going to require a second roll, and I will say right now, there is danger here.
Oh.
I'm not saying death, I'm just saying danger.
Danger. Let's see. I think Alexi's going to leave the hole in the wall for now. That's not really his area of expertise.
Okay.
But he did remember the superintendent saying something about her fixing radios all the time. So he's going to walk over to that weird soldered radio, and he's going to turn it on, see if there's anything funky going on there.
You turn the knob, and it occurs to you there's no power.
Oh.
More to the point, there's no power cable attached to the board. And as you kind of look closer at the board, you notice that there are some cables coming out of it, running into some kind of large plastic metal block, and out of that are two more insulated cables with crocodile clips.
Oh. All this rudimentary tech is above Alexi's head. You know what? He's gonna. Ooh. I don't know if that'll be relevant, actually. What can Alexi do?
If you want, you can just give me a fairly general roll, and we can see if something comes to you.
I'd rather do something specific. Alexi, just by looking at the radio, the modified radio, he's going to try and determine what has been done to it. What has been changed.
So I'll say this: without any electrical training, you couldn't tell the specifics. However, all these components look heavy duty. They look like they're made to withstand a lot of intensity. The block, which seems to have some kind of power cabling coming out of it, looks industrial grade. The capacitors, all the wiring looks like it's been heavily soldered and reinforced. Whatever this was intended to do, it was intended to take a lot of stress.
Can I make the what do you call it? Not jump to. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but would it be fair enough for Alexi to draw the connection that some of these components might be from site A or B or something like that?
I would say, like, in fact, you know what? Because you've still got bureaucracy as a skill. I'll say from looking at some of these components, it just. You recall from some vestigial part of your brain, you recall these being like military radio components, like broadcast antenna components, stuff specifically like high-grade communications equipment. Normally you wouldn't see these in civilian equipment. Normally these were only used for like major broadcast towers, major kind of radio listening posts. Like, it would normally be like if a generator blew in like one of the perimeter guard posts, this was the kind of stuff you sent down to replace the equipment.
Okay. Interesting.
So since you've been asking,
Trying to make contact.
You've been asking the right kind of questions. I will give you a further piece of information. These crocodile clips. It feels like if you could hook this up to a strong enough power source, you could probably get it to turn on.
Crocodile clip could be turned on. Alexi's going to go back to the hole in the wall, and he's going to see if there's any points where the crocodile clips either were meant to connect or could connect.
And since you've been asking the right kind of questions, you look closer, and while there's no clear points where, like, the insulation's been stripped away, you do see a little bit of fraying on two of the cables.
Ah.
Like something has been wearing against that.
Could try. Yeah, why not?
YOLO!
The first thing Alexi is going to do is he's going to look around for any workman's gloves or something like that, insulating gloves, effectively, around the house.
I will say that just as a matter of course, there are some like decent rubber, like vulcanized rubber gauntlets.
Perfect.
In fact, you do kind of poke around, and you do see like tucked into one of the drawers on the bedside are some like just fairly heavy-duty workman's gauntlets.
Excellent. He's going to slip those boys on, even if they don't fit him properly, and then he's going to do his best to hook up the machine to the frayed edges of the cables.
Cool. I'm going to ask you to give me one last roll with real.
My worst trait. Oh, no, -1. Oof.
Right, I'm going to ask you a fairly straightforward question here. Do you want to take the brunt of this, or do you want the equipment to take the brunt of this?
Nah, self-preservation comes first. Alexi would let the equipment take it before he lets him take it.
Cool. In which case, yeah, you reach forward. You delicately reach out with the crocodile clips, and they clip into place, and it's... For a moment you think it's fine. You hear the radio kick into life. And the only words you hear as they suddenly get louder and louder, and you just see the entire circuit board light up and start glowing. You just hear the words, "The memorial for Comrade Stalin is," and then just the whole thing fucking explodes. As just there is a bang as several components on the board just detonate one after the other, rocketing bits of circuit board and kind of hot bakelite around the room. You are thankfully not necessarily too near to this once it goes off, and it mostly detonates away from you. You have black eye at the moment as a moderate consequence, don't you?
I believe so, yes.
I won't throw another consequence at you then, as that's pretty much still holding fire at the moment.
Alright.
But yeah, there is just a mess of electrical components and two sparking electrical wires now dangling from the wall.
Do I mark experience?
Oh yes, mark experience. Anything less than a 7, mark XP.
Perfect. That's 4, baby. So close.
Most of this has all been from this session. Holy shit.
Yeah. All right. Well, Alexi is not happy with that. And he's ruined the machine, and people will now know that he's been here. That's fine. He's going to... I think he's... is there anything else? I guess one last thing Alexi will do a once-over the apartment for is anything that would indicate particular hangouts for Anna. Book of matches from a bar, receipts, things like that.
Sure. Yeah. You poke around the apartment for a few more minutes. I mean, I'm assuming you are taking those electrical cables off their contacts.
Yes.
You're not just going to let the fucking building burn down.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Okay, yeah, you just kind of let those drop loose to the floor, and start poking around. There's a small kind of table where some cigarettes and lighters and matchbooks have been just kind of haphazardly dumped. Not a huge amount gives away much of Anna's personal life. There aren't too many photographs, and what there are seem to be just what looked to be like her parents from when she was younger. As you're poking around, however, something just rattles, not loose, but into place in your head.
Huh?
Memorial for Stalin.
Oh yeah, I guess that would
Stalin's
be relevant to me.
dead?
Stalin's dead. Comrade Stalin is dead. Finally! No, sorry. But, oh yeah. Why? I guess this wouldn't have been sent to us then.
It strikes you that if it required someone massively overpowering a radio to kind of get the signal
get
strength
that
required,
broadcast? Yeah, they're trying to hide it from
that's
us.
probably not public knowledge yet. And just as that knowledge settles into your head, you are kind of looking around. You kind of see, you see a jacket, and poking out from one of the pockets is a little scrap of red cloth.
Oh.
And rummaging around inside that pocket, you find the cloth, and you find a small scrap of paper with an address scribbled on it.
Perfect. He's going to pocket that address, but his main concern now is he's going to leave the apartment, lock the door behind him, and bring the keys back to the superintendent.
Cool. I'll leave you there for a moment.
Perfect.
As we roll back over the tundra to a naked, greasy man running from the law.
Yeah.
I fought the law and I run away.
I got a penis.
Yes, you do. Well done, dear. Yes, you are running across the tundra back to where your erstwhile friend is vibing, Artemy. And yes, back out in the tundra, the rolling farmlands, well, once again, like, still somewhat frozen and not necessarily turned over just yet. Swear to God, the two of you, I'm gonna fucking time you out.
I didn't do nothing.
I will deploy the horny bonk and neither of you will like it.
Oh no.
And yeah, the smoke from the farmhouse in the distance is quite clear and visible. You can see where it looks like at least one of Artemy's younger family have already brought out the battered tractor, ready to start trying to turn some of the first fields over.
God.
He's kind of busying himself tooling around with the interior of the tractor with the toolbox. Doesn't kind of notice as you start heading towards the farmhouse.
Now that children are around, I kind of care about modesty.
Oh,
does
now
that,
you care.
Does that happen to be like a large leaf?
Right.
I would say not a leaf, but there are just loose patches of grass, like long grass. You can probably just tear up and not fashion a skirt, but just kind of mash a clump of it over your groin.
Yeah, I'm just got some grass and dirt on my dick now. Yeah.
You just give yourself a permafrost mankini.
Oh God.
Just cake it on over your cock. Anyway. Daddy, why's that old man putting mud on his penis?
Oh no, I'm gonna get arrested again.
And you're on a list.
No.
Yeah, are you just heading like directly towards the farmhouse? Are you trying to get someone's attention?
Yeah, I guess I'll go speak to Artemy. Ask for some clothes.
So yeah, you just head over to the farmhouse. You don't get the guy's attention working on the tractor, so he doesn't really even notice you as he's too busy head kind of shoulder deep in the guts in this machine. You just head up to the front door. I'm assuming you're just knocking on the front door.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just you can hear kind of the sound of multiple voices within, and after a while, the door opens, and a young man of maybe 17, 18 just kind of opens the door. You can still see he's a little bit baggy under the eyes. He probably was not supposed to be drinking last night, but did anyway. He just kind of blinks at you a couple of times, looks down, looks up. Grandad, I think it's for you. He just kind of walks away, leaving the door open. The interior of the farmhouse is just bathed in warmth and orange lights. There's multiple people running around. Small children are kind of playing over in a corner. Some of the older ones reading from books, the younger ones just playing with toys. Like multiple generations are all kind of stacked up inside this building, and the creaking of the floorboards above you, and then the clattering of feet falling down the stairs herald the arrival of Artemis' big bearish shape. As he kind of comes halfway down the stairs, he turns, looks. Okay, this is going to require a stiff drink and a very good explanation. Come in, close the door behind you.
I guess the first thing I do is just, ask, do you have any clothes?
He just kind of snaps a finger over to one of the many women who are kind of working around and goes, please, I guess a blanket at the very least, and then find a pair of my old overalls at least. Come. Gregor, please, sit down, get yourself some water. What? Do I need to ask why you show up at my house looking like some kind of deranged garden gnome?
I'm gonna just tell them about what happened. They picked me up after the fight and got arrested, but just magically, without going into any detail, I got out.
So you are telling him you broke out?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, he kind of, for most of your story, he does kind of seem to take it with a certain level of bemused. Yeah, this sounds like the kind of bullshit you get up to. Yep, got arrested. The minute you say you broke out, he stops, and most of the grown-ups around you also slow in what they're doing. You can just feel the attention now falling upon you. Gregor.
Yeah?
You are on the run from the police.
I guess you could say that.
And you bring this to my home. My family.
Well, you're the only person I really know.
You are a wanted man, and you bring yourself to my home. My grandchildren are here. What am I supposed to do? If I hide you, there is no end to the suffering that could fall upon my family. I'm sorry, my friend.
You know what? I get it. Thank you for the clothes.
Magda, go find the constable.
Oh.
Oh my god.
And he just kind of puts one hand flat on the table next to yours. I'm very sorry.
I just, sort of put my hands together, just be like, thanks for the clothes, but I really better get going. You've done enough for me.
He just reaches out and will go to take your wrist. Listen, this will be better for everyone if you don't try to run. Maybe they'll understand. You're an old man. You used to live out in the wilderness. Maybe they think you're just... If you run again, it's going to get worse.
I'm sorry I have to do this. And sort of, I transform my leg into a tentacle, sort of discreetly, and try and wrap it around his foot.
Fuck, okay, so we're doing this. We're doing this. Alright. Give me a roll with strange. Throw in tentacles, so roll with +3.
We're doing this.
Fair enough. This isn't going to take him out of it, but this is going to give you the upper hand. I'm assuming you're just constraining his leg.
I'm going to try and trip him up.
Like, try and pull him from his seat.
Yeah, in hopes that he lets go and I can sort of run away.
I mean, yeah, you do it. You definitely roll well enough to just get that off of him. You just kind of pull, and he just kind of bodily goes over backwards off his chair, crashing to the ground. What you don't expect, and what takes you aback for just a second, is that as he crashes to the ground, Artemy also changes.
Oh.
Around you, like, the rest of the family just immediately move to the kind of where the younger kids are, scoop them up, run upstairs. A couple of them are closer to the doors and just run out of the side doors. And within seconds, you are the two of you just alone inside this building. As Artemy shifts, as his groan of anger rolls and deepens, taking on a husky, throaty tone. His clothes just fall apart around him. His hair sprouts and thickens into a matted coat, until you realise you have not tripped over a man, but you have leashed yourself to a bear.
I mean, I did expect him to be a bear, to be honest, but maybe a different kind.
And he kind of rears up on his back two legs. His eyes are dark, but there is definite intelligence behind them, and in a low, throaty rumble. I really wish you had not done that. And he is just going to fucking try and club you. This large paw just swipes down.
Well, shit. I mean...
So please give me a roll with fury. Tentacles will still help you here.
Oh yeah, let's just...
So that's rolling with a +1.
Ooh.
Well, on the plus side, mark experience. Which I believe is now enough for a level. Just take the major consequence mauled.
Oh.
Artemy just fucking wallops you. Like, a bear's claw is not the hardest thing in the world, but it hits like a sledgehammer and it's tipped with claws. So it just smacks across your upper body, rakes across your flesh, and then on the backswing cuffs you across the side of the head like you've been hit with a shovel. It doesn't fully break your grip over his leg, but it knocks you for 6.
Maybe this is what I needed.
Stay, and this will not get any worse.
In this sort of confusion, do I have the opportunity to just bolt?
If you just want to try and escape, you absolutely can. I will, however, warn you, this major consequence will reduce all your 10 pluses to a 7 to 9 at best. However, the ball is in your court. Whatever you want to do, you can do.
Whatever thing I try and do here, it's going to end up bad. So, I'm just going to run away.
So you're just going to try and grease away?
Yeah.
Cool. You're running away. Are you just flat out just getting away from him?
I'm going to go towards the city. And just, far away as possible.
Fair enough. So we're not talking finesse, we're just talking speed. So give me strange.
+2.
Yes.
Fuck me.
Oh, fuck. Mark another experience.
Hey.
Yeah, you try to disengage, and Artemy just plays his trump card and lies on you. He just belly flops onto you bodily. It's not enough to cause a huge amount of pain. I'll say you're still going to take a moderate condition because you're going toe to toe with a man who is part bear. I'm just going to say take the moderate condition restrained.
Should I be like typing these down on my character sheet, by the way?
Yeah, though there's a little slot next to major, another slot next to moderate.
Oh. I do have one backup plan here. I didn't want to do this, but are you familiar with the run of the Avengers Endgame film? And there was a certain theory surrounding two characters called Ant-Man and Thanos.
You're going to try and climb up inside this bear's ass and explode it from the
I'm
inside.
gonna stick a tentacle up his ass. It works with a dog, it'll work with a bear.
Mummy, why is that tentacle finger banging that bear?
Oh.
All the fetishes are being discovered tonight. Okay, so are you going to cause him pain, or are you just trying to distract him?
Just distract him. I think finger up the butt would distract anyone.
Okay, cool. Here's how this is going to shake out. This would normally be fake because you're trying to distract him. Tentacles brings that up to a net 0. However, you have a -2 for restrained, and at best you're going to get a partial success. So roll -2.
This is not going to go well. I can already tell you.
That's the first time I've seen someone get a fucking 0. Well, mark another point of experience. As I'm loath to do this and just take a player out of the scene, but this is the third attempt you've made, and it's just made it worse every time. Yeah, you go to put a tentacle up this angry bear's bum, and you know what? That does not have the desired effect. As to me, just there's a moment of, and he just kind of rears up, and the flat of his paw just flattens your head.
Oh.
That would have killed a normal person. Thankfully, you are not a normal person. However, fucking hell, just. So I'm just gonna. So all of your consequences are now just flat fuck Friday, as you have just been pancaked into a smear by this bear. And while there is definitely some part of you that is still conscious, the rest of you is simply in too much pain to do anything else. And we're going to step away from you, as there is just this silence, and then just from outside, just one of the kids just poking their head round the door, and then just goes, "Teddy, no, darling, please stay outside until Granddad has become presentable." Meanwhile, back at the library, where there's less nudity, tentacles, and bears.
Oh my god, a break-in and a fucking tentacle ass thing compared to sitting in the library waiting for a book. That's very
Look,
holy fuck. Holy fuck.
Like poetry, it rhymes.
Does it? It slimes at the very least.
Hey.
Yeah, a couple of hours have passed. The librarian has mostly just spent much of her time smoking cigarettes and working her way through her catalogue system, processing books.
All right.
After a while, the door at the back of her office opens and the same figure steps out carrying a book and a folder, taps her on the shoulder, puts them by her side, and then just turns around without a word and goes back inside their doorway. The librarian kind of scans over everything, nods, and then motions for you to come over. Okay.
All right.
Hello. Sorry that took a little bit longer than I was expecting, but hopefully this will be enlightening for you. Here, she kind of pushes over the book. This is an official biography of the man in question. I believe the Brian is not there. I believe the official has already been checked out, and we are still waiting for that to be sent back in. This copy has a slightly less, how to say, a slightly less politically sensitive take on his beliefs. Again, please understand that this is not to be copied. Information from this book is not to be taken outside of this building unless used for official capacity. Please understand that what is here is not the official party stance. This is simply the raw information as it was produced.
All right, that sounds good.
This, on the other hand, she touches the folder. These are, and please do not ask me how these are arrived in my library, just understand they are here. These appear to be original copies of his work, different notes from different compositions. Apparently these were seized back in 1921. I am not at any liability to say what they contain. I am not supposed to look at them myself. All I have to say is that you are only to view these in a designated viewing room. You will be supervised remotely. You are not to make any copies, and you are not to remove anything from these documents. Is that understood?
Yes, ma'am, that sounds good.
Okay. She kind of looks over your shoulder. Yes, and another kind of similarly dressed man in kind of an oily grey suit is walking over to you. This gentleman will escort you to a reading room. He will then wait outside until you are done, at which point you will hand everything back over to us. As long as this is acceptable to you, I will leave you to it.
That sounds good.
And yeah, the man in the suit just kind of waits until you gather up everything, then just goes, "Come," and starts walking off down the hallway towards where there is where you can see the sign for a secure reading room.
All right. I guess while I'm reading these documents, I want to figure out. Well, I want to do two things. Number one, I'll do the job exactly as Athanas described, figure out how I would go about doing what he wanted. But the number two thing that I think I would want to do is I kind of want to figure out from the reading material as to like why specifically this? Why exactly is Athanas targeting this person per se? And I'm trying to figure out if it's something more than just political USSR bullshit, or if it's something a lot deeper than that. I guess. Would that make sense?
Okay.
Would I roll for anything for that? Or?
I would say you will have unfettered access to the raw information. What you infer from there will probably be what you have to roll for.
Okay. Alright, well, what exactly would I find in there, per se?
So, are we talking like just the actual content of the books and the information in the documents?
Oh, I mean everything. I, like, give it all a thorough read-through and such.
Fair enough. So yeah, you sit down with the biography to begin with. It seems to have been written by a fairly close personal friend who has gone uncredited. It is simply dedicated to my dear Mikola, taken too soon, with a voice that shall echo through the ages. much of the biography is pretty standard, as you anticipate it to be. His education in the seminary, his learning of multiple musical instruments and forming a family. It's when he began to get more into the spiritual and secular side of music production that the notes in the biography start to branch a little bit further away. In the more official documentation, and it's even referenced in this biography, it brings to attention that publicly Leontoyevich was a devout Christian and was specifically made steps to distance himself away from from the mysticism and in very broad terms pagan rites that were normally associated with the older folk music of the Ukraine. However, the biography instead branches off from that and paints a picture of Leontoyevich as being more of a spiritually open person, someone who began to see the broader themes between different cultures and different interpretations of religious song. That there was some common theme, some common thread that all faith-based sound and all faith-based communication had. Some kind of spirit of the song. Nothing within here is explicitly blasphemous, but it is very intellectual in a way that would challenge a lot of the orthodox dogma. It would basically not please anyone. The conventional orthodoxy of the church itself would not appreciate it for marrying so many heretical and pagan elements from other culture. Whereas the very secular and kind of anti-religious Soviet Union would not like it because he's basically mashing together a bunch of different folk beliefs and trying to turn it into one thing in particular. So it becomes understandable why this is not necessarily something he likes, that the Soviet Union would approve of. Yet, at the very least, the current interpretation of his work as devoutly orthodox, and the fact that he is considered a martyr to the Ukrainian church, would at least suggest that the current interpretation makes him beloved by the Ukrainian population. That he's kind of a figure, not of like worship, but definitely of reverence, as a good Christian man who died as a consequence of challenging the Soviet regime.
All right. Well, I guess the only other question that I would have, per se, before I go about, I guess, doing what I believe to be a frame job.
Yeah, I mean, like interpreting facts in a way that would make him less popular with the Orthodox Christian population. Basically attacking the foundation of what is making him popular with Ukrainian people.
Before I go and write up a report on that, then I want to see if I can interpret what is the singular thing that this guy truly believes in, or if he's just, I want to see if he's more deep into the occult, like actually maybe secretly deep into the occult, if there's more going on with that, or if he's just like some fucking hippie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you move away from the biography, you look at the assorted notations and documents, and there are various pieces of work, sketches of churches and various things he did to pass the time, as well as notes on a cappella sound structure, different myths and different folk tales he'd heard and digested and tried to process into pieces. And as you kind of run your way through them, one catches your eye. A particular piece marked Shedrik.
Okay.
There is not much on there. It feels almost like a scrap of a diary. There are fragments of the song itself, the song of summer, of beckoning people out to take stock of the new year, of the fat lamb, and the prospect of change. But most of it is simply taken up by a short passage. The sisters came to me again. We talked until dawn. About life, about death, about the spring and the winter, about change and stagnation. For heathens, they are erudite, and of all things, very open in their beliefs. They don't think less of me for my faith, and in turn I find I do not find myself thinking less of them. Khalil is boisterous and colourful, full of life and warmth. Xenia provides structure, shape. She is able to look at the thing and see what it can become, what needs to be cut and what needs to be changed. Oh, what marvellous composers they would be if they were but one person. I suppose I am simply lucky I have them to work with on this piece. It's funny. The more I think about it, the more that melody catches in my mind, the more I'm able to look at my world, able to look at the world, at my family, and see the possibility of a better future for them. Tomorrow we shall rehearse in earnest. Tomorrow we shall rehearse in earnest. That's where the scrap ends.
Now, obviously, I can't take anything or do anything like that. Would I be allowed to perhaps write some notes on my hand?
If you want to smuggle some notes out, you can absolutely attempt to do that, but you will have to make a roll to get out of there with them.
Well, in that case, I think I'll probably just hold on to that for now, and then I'll probably write up the report for Nath just to, whatever I gotta do for him, I'll do that real quick, because I gotta try to find Torin soon, but I do want to see if there's more to the guy than perhaps, than I thought, because he did just break into my apartment for no reason, or for a reason, but, I don't know if perhaps he's a little bit, you know what I mean? If there's a bit more to the guy.
Oh, no, that's entirely fair. That's entirely fair. Sorry, for some reason it's still fucking 15 degrees here, and I am just melting in my apartment.
You're good.
Yeah, you're able to kind of note things down. You will be able to retain the rough information here. It would have just been like if you wanted it real specifics, like exact dates and stuff, you probably would need to make a copy of that. If you're going to sit there and just make, sketch out what your frame piece is going to be, you can just give me a roll with fake and throw in your fake academic.
Okay, that'd be +2?
Yes. Yeah, you just sit down and it's honestly not difficult. Like, if now that you know you really only have to work with publicly available information and then just tie in the occasional small piece of contextual information to kind of sour what's already publicly there, it becomes pretty clear that you could very quickly and easily just show that this guy had been marrying a lot of non-Christian beliefs and kind of smuggling them under the radar into conventional Orthodox belief. Like, it wouldn't reflect badly on the Soviet Union in any way. This is simply reinterpreting this composer's work in a way which actually reveals the exact roots and belief structures he used to create his music.
Alright.
And within a couple of hours, you've been able to put together a fairly watertight argument covering precisely where he's drawn all this from and how that would then go on to poison everything else he's produced as a result.
Alright. That sounds pretty good. Since I got all my works up and such, since I already figured all that out, I'd probably knock on the door, leave, try to see if I can't figure out a way to send it to Athanas himself. Then I'll probably go try to find Torin quick to give him the earlier lab results. And then I'll probably try to find Alexei Volkov somewhere.
That's fair enough. I was actually thinking, now that we're kind of getting close to about 10 p.m, I'm probably going to wind it up in the next 10 minutes, so we'll wind it down here with just one last scene.
Okay.
We'll give you a scene, and then we'll give Alexis a scene, and then if Gregor's free, we'll have a scene with him as well.
Sounds good.
So yeah, Kramer, you finish up here. You hand over the information. You hand over the documents back over to the agent, who just takes them from you without a word. Checks to make sure you've only got the official documentation you're supposed to leave with. Gives it one quick scan over, nods, hands it back to you. Very well. Goodbye. And he heads off. Back out in the foyer of the lounge, you do actually see Torin and your assistant have been waiting there for the last, well, you've been in there for at least an hour, so they must have been there for a shortly less than that time.
Well, in that case, no, it's okay. In that case, I'll probably just go up to Torin, hand him his information, that was like the lab results and such, and then I'd probably just say, "Sorry, dude, our mutual friend put me on a job."
Yeah, Torin looks at you somewhat skeptically, looks at the documents you've just handed him, looks back up at you and goes, "You know that old man?
Yeah, what about the old man?
He just escaped from jail."
Wait. Hold on there. That the old homeless guy, the one who was
Licking the floor? Yes. I interviewed him, he was incredibly evasive, and then he decided to go, and then once I threw him back in lockup, he somehow managed to escape.
he
Please.
somehow managed to escape.
Look, at the moment we are treating this as some kind of security hazard. This man might be a spy, he might be some kind of inside provocator, we're not entirely certain. All I have been told is I am to get you to your apartment and put you under lockdown immediately. This man knows you, he could potentially be here to assassinate you.
Me?
He just
Man was licking the floor.
He just hands his stuff over to, he hands the documents over to your assistant. Just goes, look, take those to the local office. They will get them over to Arfanas as soon as they can. This is priority one, but you, he points back at you, you are my personal priority.
Fuck. All right, let's go.
And so, yeah, you can see he just kind of puts one hand on your shoulder and starts guiding you out towards the staff car. And yeah, you can already see, like, there are multiple police cars now moving around on the nearby streets. It feels like the whole town is starting to go into lockdown.
Jesus.
Alexei.
Mm-hmm.
Where did we last leave you off? You were dropping off the keys with the supervisor.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, the supervisor just kind of is still there, sipping some beer. As he comes over, he just kind of holds out a hand for the key.
I plunk it in his palm.
Thank you. Fuck off.
You said that Miss did I say your name? Miss Petrovic was making modifications to people's radios.
She said she was helping with them fix their radios, but the fact of the matter is we've had a wireless jammer active over the city for the last year. There's nothing wrong with anyone's radios. They're simply stopping signals from coming in. It is security. I don't know why everyone has to complain. We play records. We go to the bar and we listen to the bands. It is the same.
Nah, like, this is just some schlub. Like, he's not going to reveal any spooky information. And certainly Alexei knows the implications of sharing classified information. I see. Do you know if Miss Anna had any relatives, close friends who live nearby?
Relatives? No family. She was listed as transferred in from Kursk, I think. Brought in to replace last person who used to work on Site B. They would have moved her to main barracks, but apparently they did not have enough space, so they had to sequester her here.
I see. One last question. These friends who she was coming over, who were coming over frequently, did you know any of them?
He just snorts. It is not my job to poke my nose into official business. You think I'm stupid?
Fair enough.
Listen, you ask too many questions. He puts finger to the side of his head and kind of twitches his thumb like a hammer of a gun going off.
Oh. Yes, I am intimate. It's not going to say intimately familiar. I am familiar. What is... what's a good question to ask? One last one. I had one and then I lost it. No. He's gonna go back down to. He's gonna go back down to Elga, and he's just gonna wait for Kramer to arrive, I guess.
That's fair enough.
he might share some information with Elga. Kind of trusts her. She's an old horse, and she's talked about lying to the government. Yeah, you know what? He's going to ask her. Ilga,
Yes, dear?
if there was something big that happened, that the government was trying to keep us in the dark about, would you want to hear it?
It is the nature of a free and well-governed people to be kept informed about the goings-on of the world around them. So of course I do not expect them to tell us shit.
Elga, can you keep a secret?
She just takes in your expression. I'm assuming you look quite somber at this.
Yes.
She just reaches over and just takes your hand in hers.
Mm-hmm.
To my grave.
No talk of graves today. I used the equipment in Petrovic's apartment, and it says there was a memorial for Comrade Stalin. And I think that's a good place to end the scene, just on a dramatic reveal.
Stalin's dead, bitch. Kind of pull out to a long shot, and then just a very distant woo.
Yeah. Fuck that guy.
Cool. And we will finish off with Gregor.
I'm almost dead.
I mean, you would, like, if someone looked at your body right now, they'd be like, bitch, that man is a fucking smear. Admittedly, a smear made and composed of both meat and tentacles, so there's clearly something fucky going on here. But yes, time has passed. Artemy has kind of recomposed himself back into a more humanoid shape. And as you lay there trying to gradually reconstitute yourself, there is the clattering of firm boot heels on the wooden floor of this farmhouse. And as like an eyeball begins to pull itself together, and you're able to kind of look around the room, you look up at a figure in a pearlescent blue suit, close cropped hair, and a stern but kind-looking face. Arthanas kneels and looks down at you with a smile on his face. Hang on a second, where's my fucking... Dr. Kosmolov, I'm glad to finally meet you.
I knew something was sus.
Amogus! No.
Among Us?
Oh my god, not that meme. Oh
I was the
no.
real sussy Barker all along.
Look, you're either a sussy baka or you're a bussy sucker.
Fucking cry.
Hopefully that was okay for everyone.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
pretty good. I just know next time I gotta fucking figure out how to meet up with Alexi again.
I had a whole plan, by the way, that I was gonna run out from Artemis' house, be like, you know what, I've seen the error of my ways. I shouldn't have escaped from prison. I'm gonna go find this Kramer guy, and just it all went to shit.
You just got fucking pounded into the floor.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Well, on the plus side, you now have 7 XP, so you can reduce that by 5, and you may learn a new move, create a new power, or create a new skill, or increase one of your stats up to a maximum of +3.
This was probably asked before, but can I do this in retaliation to something?
You can hold it, but generally I would rather you did it kind of like contextually between sessions.
Can't think of anything right now, if I'm honest. But I'll let you know if something strikes me.
No worries. I know Nameless also has, I think, got 5 XP now.
Do I have 5? I thought I only had 4. Did I fail of another roll? Hang on. Let's see. 4. I feel like that was the last one I did. 1. Hang on. Let's count how many I did this session.
You've also got 6.
I have 6. Okay, I've been not keeping track well enough.
Forget I have the void pocket as well. They should maybe make some use of that as well.
Yeah, your temporal hot pocket.
Well, was it ever established if I could hop in it? I can't remember.
I mean, like I said, it's a power. If you want to use it, you can use it. If you want to pocket yourself, entirely possible. Just imagine how bad it'll be if things go wrong.
Yeah. Just I never get out. That's my character. GG.
Just invert yourself. I mean, I wouldn't be so mean as to make you insta-die, but I'd be like, cool, you pop out somewhere else.
That's fair.
Or if I want to be even more fucker, it's like, cool, you pop out at the wrong time.
Ooh.
You've either gained or lost time, depending on what's funnier.
I could avoid pocketed out of the jail cell only to pop up in another one if I failed.
Just pop into the next one along.
That's what I was just thinking. Yeah, literally just the next one in the row.
You just keep popping back and forth. Fuck, god damn it. Jailer comes back and is like, I could have sworn I put you in the left one. Ah, no, fuck it, never mind.